A new scientific perspective is always going to meet with resistance. We are used to think in terms of those experiences that prove to be successful. For instance, we were all educated in the spirit of what is known the Cartesian revolution. Within the Cartesian revolution, change is always explained in terms of a relation between cause and effect, in which the past determines the present and the future. The Cartesian view of the world proved to be immensely successful. Everything that we have around us at this moment in this development of civilization proved to be the outcome of a way of thinking that led to the machines that surround us, that we are using, that allow us to reach a level of efficiency that explains the prosperity reached in some countries. And while the Cartesian view is a very good explanation of the success we had from societies in which hunger and disease were characteristic to societies in which we can hope for a better future, it also led us to the major problem of our time, which is the problem of sustainability. In very simple words, for something to be sustainable, it would have to survive new challenges, such as those related to changes in the ecology, those related to changes in our understanding of the role of energy, those related to the stability of society, those related to political and not only political conflict. Africa is probably the most promising universe in which the thought of anticipation can not only inform our better understanding of the future, but also lead to actions that are relevant to the sustainability as it is formulated in respect to the continent and to Africans. What does it mean? In the Western world, sustainability means the desire to maintain levels of prosperity that are based on the success of machines, the success of new forms of democracy, the success of education. Africa is facing the problem of sustainability, or the many problems related to sustainability, from a total different perspective. While the rest of the world can benefit from prosperity, Africa is still asking the question, how do we fight poverty? How do we open access to education? How do we establish a social and political system in which everybody involved has a say? Africa, defined at the beginning of last century as a geological anomaly, meant for the rest of the world mineral resources, meant for the rest of the world the possibility to get cheap raw materials that would eventually lead to the progress of the rest of the world, but not of Africa. From the viewpoint of anticipation, Africa should be looked at first and foremost in view of the human resources. Actually, anticipation is a definitory characteristic of the living. The living is characterized by anticipation. In evolution, anticipation comes to expression in very simple ways. The survival of the fittest, as the formula goes, is actually the survival of anticipatory action. And that's the final proof of what anticipation is trying to express. In very concrete terms, anticipation means for Africa today the understanding of change in terms of offering its inhabitants, offering Africans, and offering obviously the world, because Africa is part of the global economy, part of the global world, offering the possibility of unfolding in the most creative way, which is at the same time a sustainable way. An anticipatory system is a system whose current state is a function of a previous state, its current state, and the most important part, a possible future state. So, current state, function of current state, previous state, possible future state. We will discuss today in our presentation one particular aspect of anticipation, and that pertains to medical care, that pertains to health. In this sense, some details will be presented by my colleague, Dr. Stefan, who is going to talk to you. I would only like to make reference to the fact that from an anticipatory perspective, to think about health as a matter of sustainability is to think about maintaining the possibility for each and everyone to be creative and unfold according to their creative potential. Strictly speaking, if we're examining the human body, there's always going to be in the human body one or several cancerous cells. The wonderful thing is that due to the anticipation that is characteristic of the living, the cancerous cells are kept in check by the healthy cells. If you take this description of the reality of the human body and you apply it to society, you understand that within each society there are forces, there are elements that are destructive and which might lead, under certain circumstances, to some failure. Anticipation is always a holistic expression, which means that in terms of, for instance, medical care, we are no longer going to address only certain aspects, only a certain part of the disease, only a very specialized view, but we are going to look at the entire body. Anticipation is always non-deterministic. And most important, anticipation is always expressed in action. Just for the sake of an example, during our lifetime, chances are that the person will fall around 400 times. Most of those accidents in which we fall will have no consequences. At the moment when we start losing the anticipatory characteristics, such as when aging sets in, we know less and less how to fall the right way, and that's when we start breaking knees, breaking shoulders, breaking hips, which shows that the attention has to be given at how do we maintain the anticipatory characteristics of the body in order to avoid problems that result from accidents. What we want to do is to create conditions for those elements that are the healthy elements, that are the responsible elements, to keep the illness, to keep the potential of self-destruction in check, and maybe to eliminate it. In terms of sustainability, there is the old saying according to which an ounce of prevention makes a huge difference when you compare it to the enormous cost of simply reacting to disease instead of taking a proactive attitude. Africa has the chance to transcend the mechanistic, the deterministic model and act in the future with an awareness of anticipatory action that will allow those who are growing up in a free Africa, in an Africa of many opportunities, to fully benefit from everything that the continent and its many people can offer and offer to each other.